Imagine waking up every morning with a quiet conversation already happening inside your mind. That voice, your own inner dialogue, sets the tone for your entire day. It whispers doubts, encourages courage, reminds you of your worth, or feeds your fears. You might not always realize it, but the words you say to yourself shape your reality more than any external circumstance ever could. Now, what if I told you that by simply changing the way you talk to yourself, you could transform your entire life? That the power to overcome stress, doubt, fear, and failure lies within your own words. This isn't just wishful thinking or empty positivity. It's an ancient truth rooted deeply in the wisdom of the Stoics. These philosophers understood that our mind is like a stage, and the self-talk is the script we perform by day and by night. They taught that reason and virtue should guide this internal speech, because what you say to yourself determines how you perceive the world, how you feel, and ultimately, how you act. Your self-talk creates the lens through which you see reality, and changing that lens changes everything. Today we'll explore the profound power of self-talk from a Stoic perspective. We'll uncover how your internal dialogue can either imprison you in negativity or set you free to live with resilience, clarity, and peace. You'll learn how to recognize harmful patterns of thought, challenge false beliefs, and cultivate an inner voice rooted in wisdom and strength. This isn't about ignoring pain or pretending life is easy. It's about training your mind to meet life's challenges with courage and grace. By the end of this journey, you'll understand why your words matter, not just the ones spoken aloud, but the ones whispered quietly in your mind. You'll gain practical tools to master your inner conversation, so it serves you instead of sabotaging you. Because when you harness the power of self-talk, you don't just change your thoughts, you change your reality. If you're ready to step into a new way of thinking and living, to become the author of your own mental story, then let's begin. So, what exactly is self-talk? At its core, self-talk is the constant stream of words, ideas, and judgments running through your mind, sometimes loud and clear, other times subtle and barely noticed. It's the conversation you have with yourself about who you are, what's happening, and what might come next. This internal dialogue shapes your feelings, decisions, and actions more than you might realize. It's like a narrator scripting your experience moment by moment. Self-talk isn't just one thing. Sometimes it's conscious, like when you deliberately tell yourself, "I can do this," or "stay calm." Other times it's unconscious, the background noise of assumptions, fears, or beliefs you barely notice, but that still steer your mood and behavior. These unconscious patterns often form early in life and can be deeply ingrained, influencing how you react without you even realizing it. Now, why does this matter? Because your habitual self-talk becomes the blueprint for your mindset. If your inner voice is harsh, critical, or fearful, your mind and body respond as if you are constantly under threat. Stress rises, confidence falls, and motivation dwindles. On the other hand, if your self-talk is kind, rational, and grounded, you build resilience, clarity, and calm. Your internal words create your emotional climate. Think about how you react when facing a difficult situation. If your inner dialogue says, "I'm not good enough," "This is impossible," or "I always fail," you're setting yourself up to feel overwhelmed or defeated before you even begin. But if you shift those words to something like, "This is challenging, but I can learn," "I've faced difficulties before and grown," or "one step at a time," you start to empower yourself to act differently. Some self-talk is obvious and easy to identify. Other times it's more subtle. For example, you might find yourself thinking, "They don't like me," or "I'll never be able to handle this," without even realizing these are repeated stories your mind is telling you. Recognizing these internal narratives is the first step to changing them. The great Stoics understood this power of self-talk and placed great emphasis on governing your internal dialogue. For them, reason was the master of the mind, the ruler of impressions and judgments. Epictetus famously taught that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about those events. and those opinions are formed through self-talk. Imagine your mind as a court where reason acts as the judge, listening to evidence before making decisions. Self-talk is the lawyer presenting arguments. If the lawyer is irrational, full of fear or falsehoods, the judge will make poor rulings, leading to distress. But if reason listens carefully and challenges faulty claims, it can guide the mind toward tranquility and virtue. This idea is central to Stoicism. Your inner speech should be examined and corrected regularly to align with truth and virtue. You're not a passive victim of thoughts. You have the power and responsibility to shape your internal words. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about the importance of this practice, reminding himself to take care of your thoughts because they become your words become your actions become your habits, and your habits become your character. The Stoics also believed that true wisdom lies in understanding what is within your control, your own judgments, choices, and self-talk, and what is not. When you discipline your inner speech, you train yourself to respond with calm and clarity rather than being swept away by emotion or false beliefs. This is where self-talk and reason meet. Your internal words should reflect the values you want to live by: courage, justice, wisdom, and temperance. When your self-talk embodies these virtues, it becomes a powerful force, shaping not only your perception, but your character. Throughout history, the Stoics practiced daily reflection and self-examination to ensure their internal dialogue remained aligned with reason. They journaled their thoughts, questioned their beliefs, and rehearsed how to face challenges calmly. This process of governing self-talk wasn't abstract philosophy. It was practical mental training for real life. In our modern world, this Stoic wisdom is more relevant than ever. Our minds are bombarded with distractions and negative influences, making it easy to fall into unhelpful patterns of self-talk. Yet, by adopting the Stoic practice of examining and correcting our inner speech, we regain control over how we interpret our experiences. Understanding that your self-talk shapes your perception is the gateway to transforming your reality. How you speak to yourself changes how you see the world, which in turn influences your emotions and actions. The Stoics remind us that things themselves are neutral. It's our thinking about them that gives them meaning. For example, when facing criticism, your self-talk determines whether you feel crushed or see it as constructive feedback. When encountering failure, it decides if you spiral into despair or treat it as a learning opportunity. When overwhelmed by uncertainty, it influences whether you panic or steady yourself with reason. By mastering your self-talk, you train your mind to interpret life through a lens of virtue and resilience rather than fear and confusion. This mental mastery allows you to face challenges not as threats, but as chances to practice wisdom and courage. Throughout this video, we'll explore practical ways to identify harmful self-talk, challenge false judgments, and cultivate a rational and virtuous internal dialogue. You'll see how this ancient philosophy offers timeless tools to harness the power of your words and shape the reality you live. Now that we've laid the groundwork, let's move into identifying and challenging those negative patterns of self-talk that hold you back. Because the first step to transformation is becoming aware of the stories your mind is telling and learning to rewrite them with reason and virtue. Now that we understand how self-talk shapes our perception, let's dive deeper into how this inner dialogue actually molds our reality. The Stoics had a profound insight. Things themselves are neither good nor bad, but our judgments make them so. This means that the world around you doesn't dictate your experience. It's your internal commentary that colors it. What you tell yourself about events, people, or situations determines how you feel and how you act. Imagine two people caught in the same rainstorm. One might think, "This is terrible, my day is ruined," while the other says, "A bit of rain is refreshing and reminds me of nature's rhythm." The difference isn't in the rain itself, but in the stories each person tells internally. That's the power of self-talk. It frames your reality. Your thoughts are the architects of your emotions. When your inner voice tells you, "I can't handle this," your body tightens with anxiety. When you say, "This is an opportunity to learn," you feel calm and focused. The Stoics teach us to recognize this causal chain and to take charge of it. But it's not just about managing emotions. Self-talk also shapes your decisions and behavior. If you constantly tell yourself that failure defines you, you might avoid trying altogether. If your internal words encourage persistence and growth, you become unstoppable. Your self-talk is the script from which you perform your life. Recognizing this gives you enormous responsibility, but also immense power. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you absolutely control the story you tell yourself about those events. Changing that story changes your experience and outcomes. Let's explore how to identify the negative or irrational self-talk that often runs unnoticed in the background. Many times, our inner dialogue repeats false narratives deeply ingrained from past experiences or societal influences. These might sound like, "I'm not worthy," "I'll never succeed," or "people can't be trusted." Such thoughts limit your potential and cloud your perception of reality. The Stoics call these mistaken impressions, false beliefs that lead to emotional suffering. Epictetus urged his students to treat these impressions like visitors. Observe them, question them, and decide if they are true before accepting them. This process helps you break free from automatic negative self-talk. One practical method is to become a detective of your own mind. When you notice feelings of despair, anger, or fear, pause and ask yourself, "What am I telling myself right now? Is this thought factually true? Is it helpful? Is it within my control?" Often you'll find that these thoughts are exaggerated or unfounded. Journaling is a powerful tool here. Writing down your thoughts helps you see patterns and challenge unhelpful beliefs. For example, if you write, "I'm a failure because I made a mistake," you can analyze this statement. Is one mistake enough to label yourself a failure? Or is this an unfair generalization? Reframing your self-talk means replacing false narratives with rational, constructive ones. Instead of, "I can't do this," you might say, "This is difficult, but I can learn and improve." Instead of, "Nobody cares about me," try, "I am worthy of care and connection." This doesn't deny reality, but aligns your inner speech with reason and virtue. This process takes practice and patience. Changing deep-rooted patterns isn't instantaneous, but with consistent effort, you rewire your mind. The Stoics practice this daily through reflection and mental exercises, constantly questioning their impressions and reminding themselves of what truly matters. By auditing your self-talk regularly, you build awareness and gain the ability to choose your internal words wisely. This is the foundation of mental freedom and resilience. When your internal dialogue supports your growth rather than undermines it, you become empowered to face life's challenges with calm strength. Next, we'll explore how to actively cultivate constructive self-talk rooted in Stoic virtues like courage, wisdom, justice, and temperance. This is where transformation happens, when your inner words become not just rational, but virtuous guides leading you toward a better life. Let's take a moment to consider what it means to cultivate self-talk rooted in the 4 cardinal Stoic virtues: courage, wisdom, justice, and temperance. Your inner dialogue isn't just about being positive or avoiding negativity. It's about aligning your thoughts and words with the qualities that make a good, resilient human being. Courage in self-talk means facing fears and uncertainties head-on. When your mind whispers doubts or panic, your internal response can be, "I am capable of enduring this." Fear is natural, but it won't control me. This mental courage doesn't mean absence of fear. It means choosing to act rightly despite it. Practicing this kind of self-talk builds strength to navigate even the toughest challenges. Wisdom guides your self-talk to be clear, rational, and grounded in truth. Instead of reacting impulsively or emotionally, you train your inner voice to ask, what do I truly control? What is the rational response here? When your self-talk reflects wisdom, you avoid unnecessary suffering caused by false beliefs or exaggerated fears. You see situations as they are, not as your emotions distort them. Justice in self-talk reminds you to treat yourself and others fairly. Your inner dialogue should avoid harsh self-judgment or blame, and instead focus on fairness and compassion. You might say to yourself, I am learning and growing. I deserve patience and kindness. This virtue also encourages honest self-assessment without harshness or excuse, balancing truth with empathy. Temperance shapes your self-talk to promote moderation and balance. When your mind urges overindulgence, avoidance, or extremes, your internal words can gently steer you back. I will choose the middle path. Excess harms my progress. Temperance in self-talk helps maintain stability and prevents emotional or behavioral spirals. A practical way to nurture this virtuous self-talk is through daily affirmations and mental rehearsals. Before facing a challenge, remind yourself, I will meet this with courage. I will act with wisdom. I will be just and fair to myself and others. I will practice temperance in my thoughts and actions. This prepares your mind to stay grounded. Reading the writings of Stoic philosophers can also inspire your internal dialogue. Marcus Aurelius's meditations, Epictetus's teachings, and Seneca's letters offer powerful examples of how they spoke to themselves in moments of trial and doubt. Their words become scripts you can adopt to guide your own inner speech. As you practice cultivating this virtuous self-talk, you'll notice a shift not only in how you think, but in how you feel and behave. Your mind becomes a source of strength, wisdom, and calm, no matter what storms arise. Now, let's explore how self-talk functions when facing adversity, the very test of its power. The Stoics were masters of resilience, using internal dialogue to maintain composure and clarity during hardships that would overwhelm most. One of the key Stoic techniques is called premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils. This means mentally rehearsing possible difficulties before they occur, preparing your mind to meet them with reason and courage. Your self-talk plays a vital role here. By envisioning challenges and telling yourself, if this happens, I will respond with calm and strength, you build a mental shield. Negative visualization is another powerful tool. Rather than avoiding thoughts of loss, failure, or pain, Stoics embraced them to reduce fear and build acceptance. Your self-talk in these moments might sound like, I acknowledge this loss as part of life. I will endure it with dignity. This helps you face the inevitable with grace instead of panic. When adversity strikes, your internal dialogue can be the difference between despair and resilience. The Stoic approach is to affirm, I control my response. External events do not define me. I choose how I think and act. This shifts power back to you, preventing emotional overwhelm. Real-life examples abound. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations during times of war and plague, reminding himself to stay rational and virtuous despite chaos. Epictetus, once enslaved and crippled, cultivated inner freedom through disciplined self-talk. Their example shows that no matter the external circumstance, your words to yourself can cultivate unbreakable strength. In practice, when you face a tough situation, pause and engage your inner voice with phrases like, this is difficult, but I have faced hardship before. I will focus on what I can control. Or, pain and discomfort are natural, they will pass and I will grow. These affirmations anchor you in Stoic resilience. This internal rehearsal creates mental calm and prepares you to act wisely, not react impulsively. Over time, this builds a mindset where challenges become opportunities to practice virtue, not threats to your peace. So the power of self-talk shines brightest in adversity. It's not about ignoring pain, but about choosing a dialogue that empowers you to endure and grow. This is the essence of Stoic mental strength, and it's available to you with practice and intention. Now let's look closely at how self-talk influences your emotions. One of the most powerful lessons from Stoicism is that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about those events. Your inner words act as the filter shaping your emotional experience. Think about moments when you felt angry, anxious, or sad. Often, it's because your mind told a story, perhaps that someone wronged you, that you're powerless, or that things will never improve. Those stories, your self-talk, inflame emotions. But the event itself, it's neutral, simply happening. Understanding this gives you a tremendous advantage. You have the power to regulate your emotions by changing your internal dialogue. When a stressful situation arises, you can pause and ask yourself, what am I telling myself about this? Is it true? Is it helpful? This questioning interrupts automatic emotional reactions and opens space for reason. Stoic practices teach that emotions like anger or fear are not commands to act impulsively, but signals to be examined with calm. Your self-talk becomes a tool to slow down, assess, and respond thoughtfully. Instead of, "This is unbearable," you learn to say, "This is difficult, but I can endure it and act wisely." One practical exercise is to reframe your emotional self-talk by naming feelings and challenging exaggerations. For example, if you feel overwhelmed, your inner dialogue might be, "I feel anxious because I believe I have no control." Recognize this thought and respond with, "While some things are beyond me, I control my choices and reactions." This deliberate self-talk cultivates emotional mastery. It helps you avoid being swept away by destructive impulses and instead choose virtuous responses aligned with your values. Over time, this practice rewires your brain, reducing emotional volatility and increasing resilience. You become less reactive and more composed, able to navigate life's ups and downs with equanimity. The key takeaway is that your words to yourself hold the power to either fuel emotional chaos or foster calm strength. By consciously shaping your self-talk, you gain control over your emotional world, which in turn shapes your reality. So, how do you embed these Stoic principles into your daily life? Mastery of self-talk requires consistent practice, and there are daily routines that can make this natural and sustainable. Start each morning with reflection. Before you dive into your day, take a moment to set intentions through your inner dialogue. Remind yourself of Stoic truths. Today, I will focus on what I can control. I will respond with reason, not impulse. Or, challenges are opportunities to practice virtue. This primes your mind for resilience. Throughout the day, practice mindful awareness of your thoughts. Notice when negative or irrational self-talk arises and gently challenge it. Ask, is this thought true? Is it helpful? Redirect your inner voice toward rational and virtuous perspectives. End your day with journaling. Reflect on moments where your self-talk helped or hindered you. Write down what you learned, what you could improve, and reaffirm your commitment to wise internal speech. This builds self-awareness and accountability. Using Stoic quotes or questions as prompts can deepen this practice. For example, ask yourself, am I acting according to reason? Or, what virtue can I cultivate in this situation? These guideposts keep your self-talk aligned with Stoic wisdom. By integrating these habits, your internal dialogue becomes a disciplined and supportive ally. You'll find that over time, your mindset naturally shifts toward greater calm, clarity, and strength. Remember, mastery of self-talk isn't a one-time event, but a daily journey. Small, consistent efforts compound into lasting transformation. You are rewiring your mind to be a source of wisdom and resilience, no matter what life brings. Let's shift focus now to how your self-talk influences not only your inner world, but also your interactions with others. The words you speak internally shape the way you communicate outwardly, affecting your relationships and social environment. When your internal dialogue is grounded in reason and virtue, your external speech tends to be more thoughtful, kind, and purposeful. The Stoics emphasize the importance of speaking with honesty, patience, and justice. They believe that before we can speak well to others, we must first cultivate wise and respectful self-talk. If your inner voice is harsh or reactive, it will spill over into your conversations, causing misunderstandings or conflict. Imagine approaching a difficult conversation with a calm, reasoned self-talk. I will listen carefully, respond with kindness, and seek understanding. This inner preparation helps you avoid reactive outbursts and promotes constructive dialogue. It allows you to hold space for others' perspectives without losing your own center. Moreover, managing your internal speech can improve your empathy and patience. When your self-talk reminds you that everyone is fallible and faces their own struggles, you're more likely to approach others with compassion rather than judgment. The Stoics taught that social harmony begins within. When you govern your internal words well, you naturally become a better listener, a more balanced speaker, and a stronger friend, colleague, or partner. Your self-talk becomes the silent foundation of all your relationships. In moments of interpersonal conflict, your inner dialogue can either escalate tension or foster peace. Choosing self-talk like, I will remain calm and fair, or I will seek to understand rather than react, helps de-escalate and opens pathways for resolution. By consciously shaping your self-talk in social contexts, you not only transform your internal reality, but also positively influence the world around you. This is the ripple effect of mastering your internal speech. Now let's talk about the long-term impact of this work. Rewiring your mind through disciplined self-talk is a process of habit formation and character building. The Stoics recognize that change comes slowly, requiring patience and persistence. Modern science supports this, showing that our brains are plastic, capable of change throughout life. Each time you practice virtuous self-talk, you strengthen neural pathways that support resilience, reason, and emotional regulation. At first, new patterns might feel unnatural or effortful. Old negative scripts may resist change. This is normal. The key is consistent, compassionate effort. Celebrate small victories, the moments when you catch a harmful thought and replace it, the times you respond with calm rather than frustration. Over months and years, these daily practices accumulate. Your internal dialogue becomes your default mode, guiding you toward wisdom and peace. This gradual transformation shapes not only your mindset, but your character and ultimately your life. Remember that setbacks are part of the journey. When negative self-talk resurfaces, greet it with curiosity rather than self-criticism. Use it as an opportunity to practice the Stoic art of self-correction. By committing to this ongoing work, you cultivate a mind that naturally supports your highest values and deepest well-being. You become, in the words of the Stoics, someone who lives in accordance with nature, reason, virtue, and purpose. So embrace the power of your words, inside and out. Your self-talk is the script of your life. Write it with intention, wisdom, and courage, and watch how your reality transforms over time. As we reach the end of this journey together, I want to leave you with a powerful truth. The way you speak to yourself holds the key to shaping your entire experience of life. Your self-talk is not just background noise, it is the foundation upon which your reality is built. From the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, your inner words guide your thoughts, emotions, and actions. You have seen how the ancient Stoics viewed this inner dialogue as both a responsibility and a tool for freedom. They knew that by mastering their self-talk, they could rise above pain, fear, and confusion. They cultivated minds of wisdom and courage through daily reflection and intentional speech within. Now it's your turn. You have the power to take control of your internal narrative, to challenge the false stories, and to replace them with words rooted in reason, virtue, and strength. This isn't about perfection or never having negative thoughts. It's about commitment to awareness, to patience, and to growth. Start small if you need to. Notice one negative thought and gently question it. Replace it with a more truthful and helpful one. Practice affirming your virtues and your ability to endure. Use daily reflection to keep your inner dialogue aligned with what truly matters. Remember, transformation takes time. Be compassionate with yourself as you learn this new way of speaking within. Each effort compounds, rewiring your brain and reshaping your life. The mind you build today will be your greatest ally in every challenge you face tomorrow. I encourage you to reflect deeply on what you've learned here. How will you speak to yourself differently starting now? What stories will you choose to tell that empower you rather than limit you? Your words matter, not just out loud, but in the quiet chambers of your mind. If this message resonates with you, share your experience. Inspire others to join this journey of mastering self-talk and shaping a reality of wisdom, calm, and courage. Together, we can build minds that are truly unstoppable. Thank you for being here, for investing your time and attention in this powerful inner work. The path ahead is yours to walk, and every word you speak to yourself is a step forward. Choose those words with care. Choose them with love. Choose them with strength.